your show host, Barbara Ragland. And today we have a very interesting person and an entrepreneur and probably someone that's going to be involved with Win TV, teaching us how to cook and about health. So I'd like to introduce you first to her. Her name is Teesia Williams, aka Chef Renee.
Oh, thank
Welcome to
you.
Spotlight.
Thank you, Barbara, very much. Thank
Um,
you. Pleasure to be
I
here.
I understand that you just graduated. Where'd you graduate from?
I graduated from Johnson and Wales University in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yes.
How long did you go there?
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years, and it was a weekend program. So
Great.
it was very long days, 12-hour days on the weekends, and pretty thorough. I loved it, though.
How did you get interested in food and food preparation and cooking and all of that? How long have
Well,
you been interested in that?
Well, I want to say when I married 20 something years ago, I was not a good cook. It would be fair to say I was not a cook.
Mm-hmm.
But what I decided was I really wanted to learn how to cook and how to cook uh, not just main comfort foods, but I wanted to cook a whole variety of foods. So I started going to the library, checking out different books, trying different recipes, watching cooking shows on television, cooking magazines, whatever I could get my hands on. So that really became a job for me as I was a stay at home mom, but it was one that I enjoyed thoroughly. So I'd have to say I've been cooking for well over 20 something years. And for cooking outside of the home, I'll say maybe about the last maybe 12 to 15 years.
Oh, so your family was the guinea pigs.
They were, and I have to say thank you so much. They're still here and healthy.
So that's really great. And I understand that you have a show in mind to do for Win TV. Tell us what that's all about.
Yes, I am very humbled and grateful and thankful to have an opportunity to do a food show with Windsor TV. We are in the pre-production stages for August, and I'm very excited about that. I'm hoping that I could share this passion I have for food, and not just any food, but fresh, good food with others, so that they'll know they too can prepare these things for themselves, and sit down and have family meals.
Yeah, family meals are very important for young children and the total family. And I used to, as a former teacher, I always told my parents to always sit down and have a meal with their children. You get a lot of information from them, and you can dispense a lot of information. And it's a
Absolutely.
good, relaxing time. Will you be cooking or demonstrating how to prepare meals, or just giving information about how you can use nutrition in your day-to-day life? What will you be doing?
Well, I am hoping that it's going to be a combination of both. I do currently do cooking demonstrations around Windsor, Windsor Locks area, the Greater Hartford area,
Okay.
and what I try to incorporate is nutritional value along with visual appeal and flavor. So what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that I could share with others is that the most time with food is the preparation of it. It's not the cooking. In fact, the minimal cooking, the most nutrients, I should say, that you get from the food. So, for example, an apple, if you eat an apple fresh, you're getting the most and the best nutrients from that apple that you can get because it's fresh. But once you start adding things as sugar or butter or mint or whatever it is you're going to add, and then you start cooking that, you slowly start to lose certain nutrients that you may not want to lose. So you can do something else with it. But yet and still, let's say, even after you've, let's say, sauteed that apple, you still have some nutrients in it that are going to be beneficial for your body. But let's say you decided to boil the apple, and let's say you boiled it until it became applesauce. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what happens is you may have lost a lot of things. And of course, you have to grind it, cook it, etc. But then those things are added back into the apple to give it the nutrients because it's lost a lot. It's still flavorful and good for you, but that absolute best is the fresh, which actually makes me think of the title of the show. It's going to be called Simply Fresh Food.
Oh, that's great. So you can look at the farmers market that we're going to have here and see what's going on there.
Yes.
Do you have a garden?
I do. We got off to a late start this year,
With
but
the
I want to
weather.
say thank you to my husband because he actually planted the garden alone this year.
Okay.
He usually tends to the vegetables, and I do the herbs.
Okay.
So we've gotten off to a late start, but I'm going to be, prepared for when it comes up, and I'm very excited about that too.
Are you going to be in the tomato contest with the seniors here? Rick was telling us about that.
That sounds so exciting and interesting, and I have to say, there's nothing better than a fresh,
Tomato.
homegrown tomato.
Yeah.
Nothing better than that. But no, I won't. I won't be in that. I'm going to leave that to them and come and taste.
It's interesting because I don't know, before Michelle Obama became First Lady, I don't know if she was interested in gardening like she is now. But, she's an advocate of fresh foods and fresh fruits and vegetables, and she does a lot of demonstrations, and, it's really had quite an effect on the population of the United States.
I'm really happy about, in fact, I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of the chefs from the White House was on television the other day, Sam, and I don't remember his last name, but it was just so pleasing for me to hear the way he thought of food and the preparation. And again, I'm very, very excited that the First Lady has brought this to our attention because it is a serious problem for us. And I do believe through education that we can make a difference and start to change to be a healthier America. I do believe fresh is best, but I don't see that there's anything wrong with preparation and preparing the food, cooking it. You can do that in a way that it's still nutritious and it's delicious and it's appealing to you and to others.
What about food, school lunches?
School lunches, I watched a program. In fact, when I was at school at Johnson and Wales, I actually sent in via, I believe it's the Facebook, but I YouTubed France, I believe it was, and their school lunch program starting at a young age, as young as 3, where they have executive chefs who have left big hotels and corporations and come in to start educating the children at that young age on fresh foods. Now, a mother got a call because she actually was an American working over there, and she decided she had worked so much she wanted to spend a little time with her son. So she actually kept him home for a few days just to spend some quality time with him. Well, the school called, and she was actually surprised to get the call from the school because she had informed them that she was going to be keeping him home and why.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out it was the chef who was calling, and they wanted to know, what are you feeding him? We know what he's getting here. We know how we're educating him here. We just wanted to make sure that that was continuing at home, which I thought was so interesting because they took such care to say it is important what you're eating, how you're eating, when it's prepared for you, and that you understand the full makeup of it. Something my husband and I would do with our children often was we would, let's say, read The Trumpet of the Swans. Mm-hmm. Well, then we took a tour to Boston to ride the swan boats. Mm-hmm. But then we talked about all the different types of food in that area, not only the area in the book, but also the area there. or we read a book, The Big Hungry Caterpillar. We found out what is the caterpillar eating, or another book, The Turnip. And then we took them to the grocery store. We got turnip greens. We got a turnip. We tasted it raw. We prepared it. We let them help with the preparation to feel it. We cooked it. So educating the children at a young age is so important, especially in this country and in this age.
There are, we could go so far into that because a lot of times the meals that they give the children in school are frozen and they're not the most nutritious, but they're the only meals that the children get. Mm-hmm. And when I started working with children in the early 60s from Head Start and other early childhood programs, I've seen a lot of hungry children.
Yes.
And I've seen children that sat down in the cafeteria that didn't really know how to eat with a fork and whatever because they were like out of a bag or McDonald's if they had that kind of food. And so, and another problem in this country, and I think it was on the Oprah Winfrey show, is where people, the only place they can get food is from fast food places. There maybe where I'll say in Illinois and other places, they don't have grocery stores where they could get fresh food. You know,
wow.
There was a man there, and he says, "I have diabetes, and I know I'm going to die, but what can I do about it?" He says, "The only access to food is the fast food places, and I don't have a car, and I can't get to a grocery store or go buy, and I can't do a garden or go buy some apples and some cabbage and, things, carrots, things that are good for you." And that is a real problem in this country, where that people don't have access to grocery stores that sell produce. They really don't. And even in this area in Windsor, when we had A&P down in the Windsor Shopping
Yes.
Center, and then we had other stores came in, and then it was empty, and we called up. We called City Hall in Windsor and said, we need a grocery store.
Yeah.
And that's when they put ShopRite down there.
Okay.
Before that, and it's interesting, I see a lot of people from Hartford coming in there. There's even downtown, where they have these high rises and whatever.
Yes.
They really don't have a place where they had at one time a grocery type store, but I understand it was closed. They closed it. And so there's a lot to
Yes.
getting fresh food and food into people and whatever, and the concern about the children.
Yes.
And whatever. So it's getting better.
Yes.
But do you think that you like to, in your show maybe, as Chef Renee, go to different schools or go to a PTA meeting or something, PTO meeting, and demonstrate or talk about, food and fresh food preparation?
Well,
I understand that you're doing something in South Windsor. What's that all about?
Well, what we're doing, and it's in Windsor Locks.
Windsor Locks,
Yep, in
okay.
Windsor Locks. I've actually done a cooking demo over at the Windsor Locks Public Library.
Okay.
And I'll be doing another one in September.
What will you be doing?
Actually, I bring in fresh vegetables and foods, and I actually prepare them. I have some prepared dishes already, so there are samples for people to eat and taste. And then I show them how to prepare them and to get the most nutrients and vitamins out of the foods. And then we have a question and answer period. But I want to make a comment as to in this country and not having foods or fresh foods available. In this country, we have more people, I want to say, that go hungry,
That's
that don't
right.
have to go hungry because, and I'll say this, I do see more, I believe it's Walmart's opening up with grocery stores, but also gardening or community gardening.
I've seen that.
And also, we have places like Food Share that comes to
Definitely.
the churches and other community centers and provide food for people. So it's sort of, unfortunate, and it's sad to hear that in this great country
There's a lot
that
of starving people.
that people, either are starving or poor nutrition or
Definitely.
undernutrition or malnutrition.
That's right.
Because we have more than enough food, and we actually, I don't want to use the term waste, but we throw away
A lot of
more
food.
than enough food that could satisfy every American in
That's
this
true.
country.
That's true.
So I am hoping that through the cooking demonstrations, through I'm actually working on a cookbook, through the cookbook to engage children, to engage families, to engage communities, to engage schools. And I would be more than happy to appear at a school to discuss the fun and the flavor of foods, because children are like sponges. And having taught a few years myself, I know that they are open to whatever it is I'm willing to fill them up with. I always got comments from neighbors and friends. Why do my kids eat vegetables at your house, but they won't eat vegetables at my house?
Yeah.
And I would have my godson out of New York, first day of school. Mom, are we going to Aunt Teesia's for my first day of school? And the reason he loved that is because I made food fun for him. I would take the pancake and I would make it into a Mickey Mouse pancake and put the fruit for the nose and the blueberries for the eyes and etc. Or I might do a banana split for breakfast. And what it is it's simply frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
And then it has the fresh fruit. It's about the way that you prepare things and how you educate them on. Take the things that they like, and incorporate that into the food. And you'll find that the kids will eat that. They actually love it, and they love helping out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's sad that everybody won't be able to have the benefit of your services. Because I can remember, I'm telling my age, but the Black Panthers started breakfast, in New Haven.
Okay.
They started giving the kids breakfast years ago when nobody else did, because the kids were hungry. And so a lot of times there's parents have money, but they choose to do other things with it. You hate to say that on television, but it's true.
Well,
And so, and that kind of spread all over the country. And then they had meals for people. And then I remember in Head Start and even schools now, the children have breakfast if they're chapter 1, and then they have lunch, and at one time, in the summertime, they have feeding programs where the kids can go to the parks and get their lunches.
Yes.
So there's some kind of problem in this country where people aren't focused on getting nutritious food for their children. That's not a priority, and I'm glad that you're doing it. I'm glad the First Lady is doing it. I'm glad the children are really interested in doing it. So tell me about your show. Now, how often are you going to be on?
Well, we're going to start with a monthly show. And I'm not exactly sure how many times it's going to be aired throughout that month, but you'll also be able to contact Windsor TV, and they'll have DVDs available. And if I'm not mistaken, it may be available on the internet through the streaming. And so I'm excited about that. And that way relatives who are far away and friends, they'll be able to tune in on the show and get a lot of, and I'll get a lot of feedback, which is always helpful to me, because right now I get a lot of emails and requests for recipes and
That's a good
and
idea.
how do I prepare this, and what do I do with that, and what is this?
Have
so
you
it's-
ever published any cookbooks?
I have not. So when I'm finished with this one, this will be my first. But I am
Okay.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's something pretty special when you can open up a child's eyes to all of the different flavors of food that's out there and available. You know, that really excites me when kids love the vegetables and things that I make for them.
Now, will you be getting your food from Food Share, or you're bringing your own?
Well, food share really is for
know.
those that may be more, you know, needy,
Yeah.
or require just a little bit of help. So I'll be getting my food either I'll purchase it from our local farms,
Okay, that's a good thing.
or and we're hopeful that maybe they'll want to donate.
Good. Good.
And then we'll be going when we have to the grocer for that. But I'm going to look around because, again, I absolutely love to get the freshest food that I could get, and at a good price. And we'll use that on the show. And we'll talk about that, the different cuts, the different techniques, how to purchase the foods, how to smell or to hold it, or if something is wilted, or if such as asparagus, if it start to open at the top, that's not the freshest.
Okay.
So the show hopefully will engage people into how to shop, how to prepare the foods to get the best and most nutrients and vitamins and minerals you can get, so that you can overall have a better health. And when you're healthy, you have a lot of energy, so you can put back into the community the things that you've gotten out. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
So you have a whole agenda.
I do, and little by little. So I'm working on it. I'm constantly reviewing recipes and looking up recipes, sampling things at home. I want people to know food is not your enemy. It's not. In fact, if we provide our bodies with the nutrients that it requires, it's satisfied right then and there, and you don't have to overeat. I still eat, okay, I'm going to say this on television. These are my cravings, and I cannot give them up, and I don't have to. I love chocolate.
Me too.
I love ice cream and whipped cream, my absolute favorites. And I eat them, and I have to say I eat them each week. But what I do is, and it's not, again, it is moderation, but it's also balancing it out. If I've satisfied my body with the nutrients that it was requesting and the minerals and vitamins, then I'm not going to want a lot of ice cream. You know, I'm going to be satisfied with just that one scoop. Whereas if I'm hungry and I know I love ice cream and I haven't eaten, I'm going to eat far more ice cream than just that one scoop. So it's knowing how to eat the foods and in what order that you get the best and pleasure from it.
What do you think smoothies are a nutritious meal replacement?
Ooh, you know what? I love smoothies too. It all depends on what type of smoothies you're having. I made yogurt smoothies with a little honey and some fresh fruit, and that was very nutritious to me.
Yeah.
I had my calcium, my fresh fruit. I had my sweet in there, and it was natural because it was the honey and local honey.
Yeah.
And I was completely satisfied.
What about, I know Dr. Oz was on talking about a breakfast smoothie, and he was incorporating soy. What do you know much about soy?
You know, I'd have to do more research on soy.
I understand it's good.
I actually like it with certain things. I actually do. I like soy nuts just naturally, to just pop them in my mouth for a snack. I know that at times my husband, certainly for people who have lactose, who are lactose intolerant, the soy works very well for them. Again, it's all what do you want to get out of it?
And I understand it's high in B12.
Yes.
Good, yeah.
And what you want to check, because check to see if the fat-free milk, if you can have it, check to see how many calories are in that versus how many calories are in the soy.
All right.
Because you might be gaining something from having the soy, but then you're going to get some calories and you may have to adjust something else that you're going to have later. So again, it's about education, it's about gaining knowledge, and we happen to be at a time where all of this information is available. The libraries, the internet, I mean, it's just out there and available. People like yourself in this show, people like public television, you know, the information is available for us to do better. We can do better.
And I know at our church, like we have one day where they have people can come and eat. But I know when I was an intern in Superior Court Housing Court, and people didn't have a place to live, but they needed food also. And so the guy I was working with had a list. And on that list, every single day in the week in the greater Hartford area, you could come get a bag of groceries from this church, this area, food share. So you're right. People don't have to go hungry.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If they know where to go.
Yes.
So maybe on your show, people can email you, call you, and let you know what's going on and what's available, you know, what services are available. I don't know. Can you tell me about your email address? Do you have an email address?
Yes, I do. In fact, we have a website, and it's under construction right now, but you can visit, and I believe the first page is available.
Okay.
And that is at www.simplyfreshestfood.com. And I also have an email or a Gmail for that, and that is also simplyfreshestfood@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yes, and you can email me or you can request information via the website or email. Information about foods. If you want to share some information, make some comments. I think it's very important that we let others know in the community, you know, where they can buy food, where they can get fresh food, and how to prepare it. So I do want to be a part of First Lady's movement for us to educate not just the children, but yes, the children, but others too, on how to sustain good health. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very important.
Absolutely.
So Teesia, I'm really glad you came. And I hope you'll stop by again. Oh yeah, I understand you're going to do a demonstration at the Windsor Public Library?
Yes.
You're planning?
We are actually, in fact, I did just get an email and a call, as a matter of fact, just before coming here today. And we're trying to set up a date. It'll either be September or October for Windsor. And September 25th for Windsor Locks. But on the website, we will start posting the dates of the cooking demonstrations, as well as we'll have recipes of the items that were prepared at the demonstration. They are now in the process from the previous demonstrations I've done, putting that information on the website so that it's available.
Oh, I think that's great because your recipes will be there. And I just have one more thing to ask you. You know, what was your curriculum like at Johnson & Wales?
Oh, wow. I worked with literally master chefs and chefs from around the world. It was a culinary arts curriculum where we had 12-hour labs. So we actually had lecture, and then we prepared foods. Those foods were consumed by other classes, students, and chefs. And then we came back again for another lecture, prepare foods for the dinner service and actually serve those dinners. And that was classical French, international beverage. I'm actually a certified bartender.
Okay.
So we had wine courses. I learned a lot about many different areas. We had nutrition courses. We had how to prepare a menu, and how to, if you were to open up a business, how to incorporate, how to get the cost of the items for your menu. We did sous vide cooking, which is a new wave of cooking coming out now that's supposed to be even healthier for you.
What is that?
That's actually where you cook the food at a steady temperature.
Okay.
For a longer period of time. So it may be such as, let's say I take a piece of fish and I vacuum pack it in something, and I put it in this water that remains a constant temperature until that piece of fish is done. Now, inside of there, I could have different, inside of that vacuum pack, I could have different flavor, different herbs and spices. But it's a healthier cooking because you're not using the butters, and you're minimizing the salt. And in fact, I prepared a meal for a family that had no salt. No butter, no fats, meaning pork fat or renderings of that type. So it was a much healthier meal for them. When they saw the meal, it was very colorful. That's the first thing that caught their eyes, was that it was so colorful. And then they did tell me later that they really enjoyed it. They didn't know that, they thought the butternut squash was sweet potatoes because of the way I prepared it and the way that it looked. But I introduced them to a new food that they had not tried, and they loved it. I introduced a group of people to collard greens who believed, up until I told them, that it was spinach. And I said, no, it's not spinach. It's collard greens.
Are very nutritious.
Yeah.
They're full of everything, calcium,
Yes.
Another thing, do you cater?
You know what? At this time, I'm holding off on that. I did cater about 3 years ago, but I decided to go and formalize my education because I've been cooking for so many years for private families.
All right.
And I decided to go and get the formal education, and let's do everything that's necessary, so when I should decide to either open up a restaurant or catering business, that I'll have everything all taken care of. So we're on our way there. I'm not doing that yet.
Okay, but one more question. If somebody wanted a specific type of cake or meal, are you available for that?
Oh, yes, I could do that. I could do that for them.
Okay.
Sure. Yes.
All right.
I have a fabulous carrot cake
recipe.
Yes, yes. And like I say, if we do things, in order, and we understand about how we're eating, we can have that carrot cake.
Yeah, definitely. It's very nutritious.
I absolutely love it. It has a coconut butter pecan filling.
Oh, my. Because I'm a foodie, I like to eat.
Then I'll have to do something for you.
Oh, I love that. I have enjoyed you so much, Teesia, and the title of your show is going to be called Chef Renee.
It's actually Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee.
Oh, Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee.
Yes.
We're so glad you came.
Thank you. I'm glad that you had me here.
I'm really looking forward to announcing when you're going to be on the air. I'm sure somebody will tell us, and we really would enjoy it. And maybe with the seniors, you could do some kind of cooking demonstrations, because they probably need to know how to prepare something quickly.
Yes.
Instead of
Absolutely.
just standing there cooking all day.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of the vacuum pack bag. That's really interesting.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So come and see us again.
I will, and thank
you so much.
Thank you. My
Okay.
pleasure.
This is Barbara Ragland saying, boy, have we learned a lot about food. I have enjoyed Teesia, Chef Renee, and I'm looking forward to her program. And remember now, you can call the number because she promised me a carrot cake. And so thank you for coming, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
Chef Renee.
My pleasure.
And this is Barbara Ragland saying, wasn't it an interesting show? I think we're doing more and more different types of things on this program. And it's very informative for me and everyone else. And that's the goal of this show. So until next time, be good to yourself and others. Thank you.
Thank you.